a couple thoughts from me. Here's the question du jour. Are Jay Powell and the Fed going to juice the election year economy by cutting interest rates? Right, you've got some Democratic senators and House members and various civilians who are calling for the Fed to raise their inflation target from 2% to 3%. And that flawed argument goes a 3% target would give the Fed more elbow room to start cutting rates. And don't forget, President Joe Biden himself said the very day after his bellicose, over-caffeinated State of the Union speech, and I'm going to quote him, "I bet you those rates come down more because I bet you that little outfit that sets interest rates is going to come down." All right, end quote, little outfit. So there you have it. The big guy wants a little juice from the Fed to get reelected. Does Jay Powell really care about Joe Biden? Well, Powell's term as Fed chair goes all the way to May of 2026. So there's really nothing Joe Biden can do to him because Biden will be retiring in January of 2025 anyway. And Jay Powell has indicated that he won't seek a third term. And for all the cynical talk about how the Fed somehow must bend to the political whims of the president and his little minions, I actually think Powell is immune from that kind of thinking. Anyway, why should the Fed get tangled up in election year politics? Especially because the actual evidence on inflation does not point to lower Fed interest rates. That's the important part. Now, surely the year-on-year inflation has dropped from 9% to somewhere between 3 and 4%. But even with that, the actual level of consumer prices is up over 18% during Biden's term. That's driving typical families crazy. Measured from February of 2021, groceries up 21%, gasoline up 30%, cars up 20%, airline and transportation services up 34%, and those are just a couple of categories. The lagged impact of that 9% CPI is going to haunt working folks for years to come, and that is Joe Biden's problem, and that's the Achilles heel of Bidenomics, Bidenflation, and Biden re-election. A couple of rate cuts by the Fed not going to bail Biden out, and indeed could make things worse. His opponent, Donald Trump, would tee off on the Fed and Biden if they start juicing the economy with any economic reason to do so. Anyway, here's a couple numbers that should make the Fed think twice about stepping on the accelerator. Over the past 3 months, CPI has actually jumped up 4% at an annual rate, twice the Fed's 2% target. And Jay Powell's favorite measure, something called core services excluding rent, well, that's up 6.9% over the 3 months. Commodity indexes starting to jump again. The CRB is up 30% since mid-December. The price of gold has moved from $18,000 to $1,800 to $2,150. That's a 20% increase since last fall. And then think of this. If you had $1,000 and you held it for 20 years at even a 2% inflation rate, all right, your money would shrink by almost a third to $680. Now, if you took Joe Biden's advice and applied a 3% inflation rate, over 20 years, that $1,000 would drop 44% to $560. The point is, even 2% inflation is no bargain. Price stability would be a better idea. And then on top of that, when you look at Biden's new budget, he continues to spend like there's no tomorrow, boosting inflationary demand. Plus, he's taxing everything that moves, which will choke off incentives to produce the supply of goods. And when demand outstrips supply, inflation goes higher. That's another reason why the Fed should cool its jets. Of course, there's always cynicism about the Fed. But, you know, a couple Sundays ago on 60 Minutes, Jay Powell said, and I'll quote, "We do not consider politics in our decisions. We never do, and we never will," end quote. All right, that may not be the last word on the subject, but it's a very brave statement. Anyway, let me say, Joe Biden needs a lot more than a couple of interest rate cuts to bail out his reelection. And you can take that to the bank. And that there is my riff